Because let's not pretend that it's not cool to be known as the jacked guy. You know, how great is it when you meet someone, they go, oh, hey, big guy. You're like, hey, call me big guy. Really happy, really proud. Simon Miller, the bald asshole here. Bald. No hair on my head. Mother Nature came and did this. Pow, and it took it away. And it was very, very upsetting, to the point now when people see me with hair, because there are pictures that document this, like, oh, dude, you look so weird with hair. It's like, yeah, to you maybe, but I had hair for like 25, 26 years of my life, so I'm still coming to terms with this. Like, I've had no hair for less time than I had hair. We don't need to worry about it. Want to give a quick shout out to everybody that bought a Flexus t-shirt yesterday. You're all lovely people. If you want to know what that's about, there's a merchandise link in the description below. And more importantly, we are going to talk about getting old today and how much it sucks. Because of course it sucks. Who wants to get old? Like if a magic genie or a fairy popped up from nowhere now and said, I will give you the power to be, I don't know, 30 years old, 28 years old forever. You'd be like, yeah, man, I'll sign up for that deal. Because, you know, age is a terrifying, horrible thing. When it comes to fitness and when it comes to age as a whole, well, other Pandora's box that gets opened, because some people genuinely don't. I mean, it's like anything, right? The best phrase, or the phrase I've based my entire life on, is the best time to do anything is 10 years ago or today. And obviously the meaning of that is you can't transport yourself back 10 years. You're not Marty McFly. So you may as well get on with it doing it today. Now, obviously, when it comes to something that deals with your body and your biology, sure, there are going to be certain obstacles that get in your way. And the inspiration for this video, as well as lots of people that have mentioned in the comments, just shout out to them. But somehow, just because 2020 is the craziest year of all time, in September, we are going to see Mike Tyson, 54, take on Roy Jones Jr., 51, in an 8-round exhibition boxing match. It's obviously going to be live on pay-per-view. It's also going to be on Triller, which is like some brand new TikTok-like app, and I'm sure that numbers are going to go through the roof because everybody will use that. Am I interested? Yes. As a boxing combat fan, am I going to buy it and be part of the problem? Yes, I am. But it's Mike Tyson, right? And we're looking at him from a sports point of view. It is Iron Mike coming back to the ring for the first time since 2005, I think. And look, let's face it, in 2005, that was not Mike Tyson. That was some guy just trying to get some cash. You know, he clearly wasn't in the right headspace. Now, it's different when it comes to boxing because you're punching people in the head, right? That's the issue. And if you've been punched in the head for a long time, which they both have, especially Roy Jones Jr., he felt like he went on forever, then, you know, you run the risk of, well, brain issues. Like, you know, Muhammad Ali got Parkinson's disease. I mean, maybe that was already genetically disposed, but getting smacked in the brain over and over is not going to help. And just think about all the stuff we know about CTE, concussions nowadays. It is night and day, even from like 4 or 5 years ago. But they still have to get in physical shape. They have to get in physical shape. Their body has to be able to hold up to the training. They're going to have some musculature because they're going to try and get stronger. It's like Nigel Benn, the boxer. I'm pretty sure he has world fame. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's more specific to the UK. He tried to come back recently, and his body essentially gave out of him. His rotator cuff went, and I'm going to put it down to the fact that he's in his 50s, and he's got a lot of miles on that physique, right? That's the other thing. We're a bit like automobiles or cars. I've never said automobiles in my life, but today it's automobiles. The more we use it, the worse that we eventually get. Tying it back into, you know, again, trying to get jacked or to get ripped or whatever the word you want to use is, there is plenty of studies you can go out there and read. And I guarantee you that you'll also be able to find studies that contradict itself. Like some studies say that your testosterone levels, so obviously the foundation block to building muscle, will peak at 19 years old. And then when you get to 30, it's essentially downhill from there, which sounds absolutely crap, right? That doesn't sound fun at all. After that, they decrease around about 1% every 12 months. Again, this is based on studies that people have done. And a lot of other studies also say that I think it's something like 45% of men, and again, it's only going to be a small consensus they've talked to, but that 45% of men over 40 actually have low testosterone levels, which of course has been the spark of the TRT market. That's everywhere. We'll talk about that another time. But there's other stuff out there that say that your muscles are strongest, whatever that means, when you're 25 years old, and you can kind of keep this strength up for the next 15 to 20 years, or 10, 15 years, depending which study you read. And then the final part that most people say is that your peak muscle mass will occur in between the ages of 25 and 35, and then once again, you're just flying downhill where you'll end up in a dustbin. Not true, actually, do you? Do you know where we end up? You either end up in a wooden box or you end up on fire. I'm pretty sure if there was some kind of questionnaire when you were about to be born saying, so if we do go ahead with this, sir, it's either buried alive, well, not alive, but buried underground and eaten by worms, or cast into the flames. Which one would you like to tick? Like, is there a third option, like floating on a pillow in the clouds? And they'd be like, no. And you probably even consider it. Is that a good option? Probably not. I'm obviously exaggerating to the 4th degree. As I'm learning in YouTube, sometimes sarcasm goes over people's heads. But none of this means that if you are 35, 36, 40, 49, 52, 61, none of this means that you shouldn't start lifting weights and you shouldn't start training and you shouldn't start trying to get in shape. These are the problem with these studies. If you are trying to be a competitive bodybuilder and you start getting into it at 42, then yes, you can still do it, but there is going to be a very niche market that you're going to have to address. You're not going to be on stage with Phil Heath and Kai Green. You're just not, and you probably don't have the genetics anyway. But the reason I don't like it when people make videos about, oh, how old have you got to be to get jacked, is you're only in competition with yourself. Do you know what I mean? So let's say that in your mind's eye, you want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Again, a very unrealistic goal for many levels, but whatever. The thing is, as soon as you do start lifting weights and you get your diet in check and you get your plan and whatever else you're doing, because you'll start losing fat, because you will start to increase muscle mass because you've never done it before. If you get A and B pictures or before and after, you'll look so much better in the after pictures. All of a sudden, you won't need to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger because you'll just be proud of how you look. Now, of course, there's the dangling carrot in fitness. Essentially, the day you start to lift weights is the day that you're small for the rest of your life, right? That is the only one of those quotes that I agree with. It's just true. But you are still going to have days when you're really proud and you're really, you just feel good about your successes because that's what they are. They are achievements. And yeah, okay, look, would you have been able to build more muscle if you had started 10 years prior? Indeed. But we've already discussed that at the start of the video. Okay, so you missed that window of opportunity. Don't miss another one just because there's some crazy people out there going, well, old people can't do this. Of course you can. Unless you have other underlying health conditions that may stop you, there is no reason to ever not start lifting weights if you are so inclined. Age does not come into it. Age is just going to hold you back a teeny bit depending where you are in your life cycle. Now, the other part of this is if you're a hardcore lifter and you start at 18 or whatever and now you're in your early 30s, I would actually say, and I think this differs per person, but I think when you're in your mid-30s heading towards 40 is actually where you can have the peak of your physique. And what I mean by this is I'm not talking about testosterone levels or genetics. I'm talking about individual to you. Because what I totally believe happens, and again, you can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, another video I'm going to make soon because I get a lot of comments saying that. I think once you've built your base by doing compound movements, deadlifts, bench press, squats, once you've built your base and you've kind of taught your body how to hold on to muscle, which does happen, hence why when you don't go to the gym and then you go back, you have muscle memory. It's like your brain attaches itself to this stuff. You can then kind of, obviously it's better if you are dedicated and you've got a good diet, but you can kind of hold on to that far easier than you could do when you were trying to build it up. Honestly, it's like there's some kind of meld connection between your brain and your body, which I suppose there is, where it will evolve and it will progress to the point it's like, okay, if you want to keep this size and you want to look like this, I will do my best to keep it up. And of course, it's on you to put the effort in, but the effort can come down a little bit, which is why when you do get older, if you keep that effort up and even find ways to increase the percentage of effort, you may actually start to look better. Of course, there's going to be an end point to this, and I would probably say, I don't know because I'm not there yet, but my guess would be past 40, that's going to be harder and harder to keep. But that's why fitness takes so damn long. You essentially spend 15 years, right? This is my story. You spend 15 years building it up, and then you do your very best to keep your peak physique for like 5-6 years. And then you're back down. And you're like, what was the point? But it's great. And that's why we do it. It gets us up in the mornings and it's exciting. And I think there's also something there. I had the word. This is not the right word, but it's a bit like our affectation. Because let's not pretend that it's not cool to be known as the jacked guy. How great is it when you meet someone, they go, hey, big guy. You're like, hey, call me. Big guy, really happy, really proud. Because, of course, those little things matter. They're not the be-all and end-all, but if they're going to raise your self-worth, then, again, it's the little things that count. But this is also why you just got to take it day by day. Do you know what I mean? Like, some days you're going to eat well, some days you're not going to eat well, sometimes you have a good training session, and sometimes you won't. But as long as you are focusing on you, and again, you're in competition with yourself. I'm going to say that over and over again because it's so important. And don't get bogged down with all this crazy nitty gritty stuff that's going on there. I don't think there's any problem with whatever age you are. Just look as best as you can. That's what I'm trying to say. Just look as best as you can. And you'd be surprised. So many people say, oh, I'm too old to do it. You're not. Like, I started wrestling training when I was past 30. And I still get people messaging me going, oh, Miller, I think I'm too old. Or maybe you are. Or maybe you're the guy that starts wrestling training at, I don't know, 57, and you become a massive star. And then all of a sudden you've rewritten the rules. You created your own path and proved that a near 60-year-old could become a wrestler. Is it massively unlikely? Of course it is. But can it happen? Why the hell not? You just don't know. If you had told me at the start of 2020, wrapping it all in, that Mike Tyson was going to return to the boxing ring to fight Roy Jones Jr., I would have slapped you and said you're crazy. And that's why I know come December, the aliens are going to arrive on Earth, because there's no two ways about it. 2020 is the craziest year ever. There you go. That's my thoughts on it all. I never thought I'd get around to this video, but I did. Thank you, Iron Mike, and thank you, Roy. Like the video, share the video, smash the subscribe button, hit the bell button, ding, ding. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. I got a Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316. You can get videos, you can get postcards, you can get stuff sent to your house, you can come on one of my podcasts. And again, I got merchandise, a bunch of new stuff, simon.bigcartel.com. But otherwise, you enjoy your day, and I'll see you soon.